Hello, everybody. My name is Christina. Welcome to my channel. I have been putting out longer videos, episodes of my story. Last episode, I spoke on my divorce and why I left the marriage with having 3 children. In this episode, I will be speaking out the aftermath thereafter. When I did make that decision to leave, the night before I actually moved out was just purely toxic, purely traumatic of how my ex-husband reacted. It could have gotten physical, but it didn't. But I was scared. And it just gave me confirmation that I was making the right decision and that I don't want to deal with this behavior anymore. I don't want my children to see this, and I don't want to repeat this cycle. The next day, I moved. The movie truck came. I moved my stuff, moved my children's stuff. It was a very, very hard adjustment, very hard transition. My children were 2, 4, and 9. My two, older ones, close, the oldest in age, they were going to be 5 and 10. And it was just hard trying to juggle everything by myself. And yes, in the marriage, I was doing everything by myself in a sense, but my ex-husband was physically there. So they had mommy and daddy, right? So I had to figure out how to juggle everything on my own, emotionally, mentally, how to keep my own sanity through it all. Because, yes, even though I did feel alone before and I did actually do everything alone, like I'm physically alone in this apartment with 3 children, 3 girls, and just trying to figure it all out. And I didn't know what to do. I was angry. I had resentment. I was emotionally imbalanced, wasn't mentally clear, didn't know how I was going to do this, but know that I could do this. I was not emotionally there for my oldest. She had a lot of resentment towards me with that. We had to work through that. We're still working through that because I did not give her all of me. I wasn't emotionally there for her the way I should have been because she's 9 years old dealing with the divorce of her mother and father, especially being the only child for 5 years. So feeling that, being the only one with her mom and dad, then having 2 siblings, and now all of a sudden, like, hold up, what? You guys are what? We're moving where? So I wasn't emotionally there for her like I should have been. She retreated to just wanting to be alone. It's like as if she was actually depressed, and I couldn't give her all my time and all my energy. I was trying to split that between 3 children, and especially with a 2 year old, essentially a baby, potty training her, trying to get her off a pacifier, trying to figure everything else out by myself, and still emotionally and mentally healing and grieving a whole almost 10-year marriage, 13-year relationship. It was so hard. And guess what, guys? Months later, afterwards, what does Christina do? Jump into a relationship, because that's what Christina did her whole life. Jump from this relationship to that relationship to this relationship because Christina didn't know how to be alone. She felt like she needed a man to validate her because her inner child, little Christina, all she wanted to do was to be loved because she had daddy issues and mommy issues. So I jumped into this relationship, and let me tell you, it was one of the, I don't want to say one of the worst. It was the worst relationship I've ever been in my life. We're going to get into that into another episode. But yeah, going through all that transition, it was very, very, very hard. I had a support system, but not truly and fully because no one understood what I was going through, right? I didn't even understand what I was going through. I did not give myself the time to sit, reflect, to heal, to grieve, and then to give my attention to my children to be like, what do they need from me right now? What can I do for them right now? And yes, I talked to them and, seeing what was needed. My little one, she was 2. She really didn't understand. It was just like, where's daddy? My middle one, completely devastated. Like, When I tell you the days of crying, weeks of crying every night, I want my daddy, I want my daddy, why couldn't you guys be together? And my oldest, she was devastated too, obviously, but she showed it in a different way. She was very quiet. She pushed stuff down. So I didn't react to the way that I should have because I thought she was okay. But that's the way that how she dealt with it. She didn't show it. And I have a lot of guilt and shame for that to this day. I have forgave myself, but I just feel bad for not, being there for her the way I should have. But it's all a learning process. Um, so to my people that are in the same situation or thinking of trying to do the same thing, does it get better? It does. It definitely does. You're in a place, your own place, by yourself with your children. You don't have to walk on eggshells. You don't got to scan the room and see how people's energy is once you wake up, before you get home from work or walk into the house. It's just you and your kids and your peace and what you want to do, right? That day or, that weekend or whatever, however it may be. However, it is going to be very hard in dealing with that transition from a two-parent household to a one-parent household, especially if your kids, are attached to that other parent. Um, so I definitely recommend therapy. I definitely recommend putting time aside and prioritizing your children. But I also know how, different it can be. You trying to figure everything out. You're stressed out and it's just one thing after another and you haven't even healed. So you have to take that time for you. You have to take that time to reflect, sit, heal, have time by yourself and not getting into anything, even isolating yourself for a little bit from other people, from other distractions, so you could feel everything you need to feel in order to move forward from it, right? Not, staying in it, wallowing in it, but feeling those feelings, recognizing them and healing and moving on for them. Because if you don't deal with it, it's going to come up in different ways. You're going to be yelling at your kids. It's going to be, having tension in other areas of your life because you're really not dealing with the core issue. Because sometimes you don't want to deal with it, right? It's like, okay, that happened. I'm done. I'm ready to move on. But before you're ready to move on, you got to master that one level, or else you're going to keep going back to the same feelings, the same, state of emotion. So that transition was extremely, extremely hard. So until the next episode, and I let y'all know where I tried to distract myself, because you can't distract yourself when you're trying to move forward in life and when you're trying to heal. So have a good day. Talk to y'all soon.